I am with the blog that uh, 6seconds.org talk about how to increase your empathy. And this is the way 5 practical tips to increase your empathy in any situation. Number 1, make curiosity a habit. The switch from judgment to curiosity is a crucial step for anyone who wants to increase your empathy for authors, whether it's with friends, co-workers, or complete strangers. We too often judge authors based on our own assumptions, but we can teach ourselves to make a habit out of curiosity, switching from thinking we know what's going on to genuinely wondering what is going on. Okay, switch from thinking we know to be we wonder. The mental shift is subtle, but it can change our perspective in a big way. Consider this situation. The story: you are at the grocery store, and in between you and your favorite yogurt is a toddler having a complete meltdown. The mother seems to have lost control and is standing there, not really doing or saying much at all. And judgment: maybe she is terrible mother. I mean, look at her kids acting acting like a hurricane, and she is not doing anything. Some people shouldn't have kids until they are ready. If you have this idea in your mind, maybe the judgment. And how about curiosity? Curiosity may be that mom doesn't seem to be doing anything while her kid has a meltdown. I wonder what is going on for her. Maybe she is overwhelmed, sleep deprived, uh, tired of the terrible tools, unsure of what to do. Maybe she could use a hug and some resistment. Maybe she could use a hug and some reassurance that everything will be okay. Just a dose of curiosity, and I want to go help her finish her shopping. Want to increase your empathy? Try curiosity, replace statement with question. Okay. And number 2, widen your cycle. Widen your cycle. Empathy, especially for strangers, start with exposure to people who are different than us. Research has found that contact with person of different race increase our empathy toward them at a neurological level. So if you want to increase your empathy, widen your cycle. In one fascinating study at University of Queensland, psychologist Yuan Chao and her colleagues found that exposure to groups that are racially different than us can increase the empathy we feel toward those groups when we see them in pain. In the study, 20 Chinese migrations. In the study, 20 Chinese immigrants were shown video of actors, some Chinese and some Caucasian, receiving a painful touch of a searing needle to the face. They examined the participants' brains while they watched the video using fMRI technology. And what they found is truly astounding. The Chinese immigrant reacted more strongly to the video of the Chinese actors in pain than the Caucasians. But that's not all. The Chinese immigrants who reported more contact with Caucasians in their lives shown greater empathetic response to the Caucasian actors, showing that this tendency to show more empathy toward our in-group is a malleable characteristic. The sample is small, but it's fascinating study that needs to be replicated. These findings indicate that one answer to the questions of how to increase your empathy in the broadcast in the broadest broadest sense of the term is simply to interact with more people, especially people from the different group than yours. For many people, though there are definite limits to the diversity they have close by. But don't worry, our next step is also powerful and knows no limit. And tip number three, get lost in good book, but not just any book. Get lost in a book. Get lost in a book, but not just any book. Reading literary fiction especially has been shown to improve empathy. These findings come these findings come from a fascinating series of studies led by Emmanuel Castano, a social psychologist at the New School in New York City. In the study, participants were split up into different reading groups based on genre. Popular fiction, literary fiction, non-fiction, or nothing, and then giving a test to measure their ability to infer and understand other people's emotions. The findings were remarkable. When the participants read nothing, non-fiction or popular fiction, their results were unimpressive, but reading literary fiction led to big increases in the reader's ability to empathize. How could this be? Literary fiction books tend to look into the psychological complexities of character. This interesting, complex character drive the story, and we as reader as emotionally involved in their desires and motivations. The inner lives of the character are not easily uh, di- discerned, but rather warrant deeper exploration, which is often revealed in layers throughout the book. Sounds like a good recipe. Sound like a good recipe for piquing people's curiosity, right? It's turned out that when it comes to improving empathy, this it is perfectly fine to perfect practice on fictional characters. Imagine the possibility here. You may not be able to hang out with a family or with a family of undocumented immigrants or someone living in war-torn Mosul, Iraq, but that doesn't mean you can't actively increase your empathy with them. Through literary fiction, we can practice empathy globally, helpful and even essential in the complex globalized world. The next one, tip number four, learn another language or at least export your kids. A pair of research studies from the University of Chicago has found that bilingual children and even children who have merely been exposed to other languages shown an increased ability to take others' takes others' perspective, basically to be more empathetic. In the first study, children aged 4 to 6 were asked to move different size toy car. There were 3 cars: small, medium, and large. Kids were on one side of the table and could see all the cars, but the adult sitting across from them can't see the smallest car, and the child could see that the adult could only see the medium and large car. When the adult said the kids, when the adult said to the kid, "Oh, I see a small car. Uh, can you get it for me?" The bilingual and exported children were more likely to move the medium car. The smallest car that adults, the smallest car that adults could see. They had a greater ability to take the adult perspective and act accordingly. Wow. The second study was familiar, but slightly simplified for even younger kids, toddlers between 14 and 17 months that had 2 bananas at the table, and they could see both even though one was hidden from the adult across from them. When the adult asked for a banana, the bilingual and exposed children were much more likely to hand the adult the banana that they could see, showing a greater ability to see the situation from the adult perspective. What does this have to do with learning another language? Catherine Keisler, Associate Professor of Psychology and Human Development at Cornell University, spec speculate that growing up in the household where 2 languages are spoken gives children a rich social experience where they are focused to figure out who is speaking which language to whom, when and where the languages are spoken, and who understands what. This translates into a greater ability to take others' perspective as they move through life. Muy bien, no? Okay, this is the learn another language, or at least export your kids to increase the empathy. And tip number 5: ask someone how they are doing, and then stop and really listen to them. And I mean listening with more than one of your sense. Pay attention to person's body language, their facial expressions, and overall demeanor, as well as what they say. We can do this with your cashier at the grocery store, your barista, or your best friend. We all have to tendency to breeze through some interactions on autopilot. But if you want to actively work on connecting with others, try this at least once per day. Ask the questions, ask the question more sincerely, and they know that you actually want to know and are not necessarily looking for a quick automatic "I am good." It's really slight change of inflection in the question, and people will know that what you mean it. Sympathy. Sympathy means feelings, compressions for others, whereas empathy is ability to understand and even feeling emotion of others. Again, sympathy means feeling compassion for others, whereas empathy is the ability to understand and even feel and emotions of others. It's deeper, more personal. Ask someone how they are doing in a way that shows that you actually want a deeper, more personal answer. Can't can't tell. Can't you tell a sincere how are you by the way the person asks? And this is all 5 tips that will help you to increase your empathy. Uh, I will recap again. Number 1 is make curiosity a habit. Number 2, within your cycle. Number 3, get lost in good book, but not just any book. Number 4, number 4, learn another language or at least export your kids. I love the demonstrate the example case of this so much. And number 5, ask someone how they are doing and then stop and really listen to them. And this is all from 6seconds.org, how to increase your empathy, and all, all of today as well from Reach Media Podcast. Thank you so much.